evening. We are live outside of Parliament where I guess we can say there are celebration to the right of me with the ANC gathering and President Jacob Zuma expected to address the crowd. To the left of me, it was where we had the opposition holding their rally, but that has since fizzled out. This is because the result of that historic secret ballot are now out. And just to recount, 384 total votes, 177 of them were yes votes and 198 were no, with 9 abstentions. So that tells us that a significant number of ANC members actually did vote in support of that motion. Right now I'm joined by Lawson Naidoo from the Council of the Advancement of the South African Constitution, CASAG. What do you make of that outcome?
But Latsi, I think one needs to say and commend Parliament for the work that it did today in holding a very, very important debate in good circumstances with no glitches. And I think it was a good day for Parliament and a good day for South Africa's democracy first and foremost. Yeah.
I mean, before we maybe even get into the numbers, was it significant? Does this not set a precedent in terms of the secret ballot where members of the public don't know how their public representatives actually voted?
I think that is a legitimate danger that we have and a concern that we have, because our constitution and society is premised on openness and transparency. And I think the Speaker yesterday was very careful to say this does not set a general precedent. A secret ballot in these circumstances was on very exceptional circumstances that existed at the time. She talked about a toxified political environment which necessitated a secret ballot today. So I don't think it's going to be something that will be repeated very often, and indeed it shouldn't.
And we could see people basically arguing for or against it every time there's a crisis in any of the legislatures.
Indeed, we could see that, but hopefully the Constitutional Court and the Speaker's announcement yesterday, her decision yesterday, were very carefully crafted, I think, to prevent that from happening.
Let's talk about the vote. Very few people expected it to actually succeed. Very few people expected the opposition to win this one. But the numbers are showing that quite a number of ANC members of Parliament actually supported the opposition in this one.
Indeed. I mean, looking at the numbers now, it seems that well over 30, 35 ANC members either voted for the motion or abstained. So I think that's a far bigger number than many of us expected. And I think the vote was certainly closer than many expected. It's the highest number of votes that has gone in favor of a motion of no confidence against Jacob Zuma, and this the 8th motion of no confidence against him. So I think, yes, it's a victory for Zuma and he remains in power, but I think he's been dealt a political blow today.
Obviously, we've seen this groundswell in terms of civic society coming out in the street, people joining the protests that the likes of Future South Africa have been a part of, and CASAG has supported some of those protests. Do you think that there is a change in the mood in the country where we can say an overwhelming number of South Africans wanted to see President Jacob Zuma go?
I think a large number of South Africans certainly do, and I think there's been a change in the mood in the country since December 2015, when Nhlanhla Nene was fired unceremoniously as Minister of Finance. And I think that has been brewing and developing over the last 18 months or so, and I think that will continue, because I think the levels of corruption that we're seeing in South African society are a cause of great concern to ordinary people who see the impact that it has on their daily lives, increasing unemployment, increasing poverty, prices going up, and people finding it harder and harder to survive. And this government is at the heart of that.
Are you finding support though from the ordinary gogos? Because at the end, these are the people that do turn up to vote in those elections.
Well, indeed. I mean, I think from the work that the Save South Africa campaign has done and other civil society initiatives, when we have gone out and done that work in communities, the message does resonate. But I think what is required is much more of that political work by civil society organizations to inform people about their rights, their constitutional rights, and how the governance of the country is impacting upon them.
What is the next step?
I think the next step is to keep up the pressure. We still need to deal with the issues around state capture. We still need to tackle this monster of corruption that blights our development in South Africa. We need to deal with misgovernance in state-owned enterprises. So I think there are many issues that we still need to focus on in the coming months.
Thank you very much. That was Lawson Naidoo of the Council for the Advancement of the South African Constitution, CASAC, joining us live from outside of Parliament, where that historic vote was held a few minutes earlier. The Speaker announcing the outcome. And just to recap, 384 total votes, 177 yes, 198 no, and 9 abstentions. And that's where the calculations come in, that possibly between 35 and even more ANC members could have supported the opposition vote of no confidence. Quite significant, a major one for the ANC, signaling again that divisions are deepening within the ANC. We also heard from the speeches throughout the debate earlier that a lot of them supporting or defending the ANC and not necessarily President Jacob Zuma. So for the ANC, a lot of work still needs to be done from here. My name is Mahlatsi Gallens.